Man, oh man, life has been so busy these last couple days with the Evo paint job going on that I feel like I haven't even had time to think, let alone really sleep. So I'm proud to announce that last night I got some sleep. And I ain't just talking a little bit of sleep. I'm talking like 10 to 7 type of sleep. So that was nice. Unfortunately, I do feel like it did set me back on the day, but it was much needed. I might not work on the Evo today. I think I'm gonna work on the Type R today. The Type R's been on the lift for probably like 2 weeks, a week and a half, 2 weeks now, torn apart. And we were doing all the stuff with the stock starter button. We got that sorted out. And I've been waiting on an OEM alternator and an OEM starter to come in. Those finally came in yesterday. So before I put the front end back together, I do need to get those installed and kind of just get that car buttoned up so we can go ahead and get the Type R on the or the Evo on the lift and go from there. That's what I'm gonna do. We might have time to do a little bit of Evo things later on today, but I need to get that Type R done. Or not done, but like off the lift, running and driving. Because after the body panels are back on the Evo, which is like another 1 or 2 days, it needs to be on the lift to do all the undercarriage stuff. And that's exciting. That excites me. So you guys know, over the last few months, I've really been taking my health seriously. I've been very open about it on the channel, about the issues that I have, and kind of the different things I've been trying to take and do to resolve them. One thing that I've done for a couple years actually, that I feel like has helped my health tremendously, is drinking AG1. AG1 is a comprehensive and convenient daily nutritional drink that contains 75 vitamins, minerals, and whole food sourced ingredients made for just about anybody. Maintaining health, especially during the holiday madness, can be very complex. Managing stress along with supporting your digestive health and immune system are essential to maintaining your health. Many products that try to address these issues often fall short of the mark. I've discussed in the past how the carnivore diet makes me like nice and smooth and just balanced all day long. I feel like another aspect of my diet that helps tremendously with that is drinking AG1. This is going to help give you a nice, balanced, sustained energy level throughout the whole entire day. And the nicest thing about AG1 is how easy and convenient it is. They have these travel packs as well as the actual bags themselves. I'm a big fan of these travel packs. For times like this when I'm in a hurry to get to the shop and get back to work, just grab a mixing cup, fill it up with the AG1, toss in about 8 ounces of water, mix that bad boy up, and just like that, we are off to having a great, successful, productive, energy-filled day. If you would like to try AG1 for yourself, which I would highly recommend you do, you can save $20 when you subscribe at drinkag1.com/Devin Niemela. AG1 is also going to give you guys a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 and 5 free travel packs with your very first purchase. Thank you AG1 for sponsoring today's video. Let's go build some freaking cars. The main thing that we've been dealing with recently is the battery drainage issue. And I have a couple of parts here that I'm confident are gonna help. Parts that I want to replace anyway. That starter is a big hunk of crap, so I have a new a very used, crusty OEM starter that I want to go through. And then I think I'm gonna replace the alternator as well, just because I'm not a fan of like aftermarket electrical components. But first, let's take a look and scan or check the voltage on this current battery and see what it dropped to. About a week ago, it was at 12 and a half volts. I'm very curious what it's gonna be sitting at right now. It apparently is so dead that we cannot open the hatch. Probably like 2 or 3 volts. Half the time when we try to fire up this car, when we do have a charged battery, that is, the starter does not engage the flywheel and it'll just skip, and it's also a very good way, an easy way to destroy your flywheel, which it's not a cheap flywheel we got in this car. Full ACT twin disc, and that would be an expensive issue. So what I have here is a good used Type S, RSX Type S starter and alternator. And of course, I don't want to put them on the car in this condition. Here's the starter, pretty crusty. Alternator, it's nicer condition, but still crusty. I'm gonna go ahead, pull these guys apart, refresh them, make them look nice and pretty again, because the rest of the car is in perfect condition. Obviously, we spent a very, very long time building this thing. So let's pull them apart and do some coatings, get them back together, get them on the car. And the main reason I'm replacing the alternator is, even though the one on the car isn't acting up as of right now, if I'm already gonna have the front end off to replace the starter, I might as well just go ahead and swap this guy out as well, because I don't trust the electronics that are on the car. .22 mil pulls off the pulley. 12 mil for that guy. A couple of 8 mils on the backside. This dust or the little heat shield should come off. Okay, a couple screws. This whole assembly comes off in one piece, which is very, very nice. And now we should be able to pop the cases apart, pull out the rotor, and be done. As always, I'm snapping a couple photos as I go just to make sure it goes back in the same exact orientation that it comes apart. I give up. I give up. That alternator's a hunk. Hey, I am after a alternator. It's a 06 Acura RSX Type S. There's a Denso alternator that looks like Napa cells for about 300 bucks. I'll buy that. Hey, looking for an alternator? I got a part number here for you.
Yeah, what's it?
Part number is 2104168.
We would have to order that for you. We'd probably see it here 3 or 4 days from now.
I don't feel comfortable putting this alternator on, so I'm not going to. It's a hunk. A starter, though, I feel quite a bit more confident about. So let's do a quick disassembly on this guy, and we can get this old girl finished up. Starters are very easy to work on. So these two pieces are gonna get the good old-fashioned Cerakote treatment. So I'm gonna sandblast them, glass bead. It really cleans up and polishes the aluminum, just makes it look brand new again, pulls off all the corrosion. But then if we don't coat it with anything, they're gonna look like this again in a couple, I don't know, 2 years, maybe 3 years. So then we Cerakote them, which is a nice clear coating that keeps them perfect forever. Yo guys, I gotta let you know about something important. Tomorrow, exactly 24 hours from right now when this video goes live, we are having a Vossen mystery bag drop. So these bags range in value from $130 minimum all the way up to a $200 value. And we are gonna be selling them for $49. So these at minimum, like I said, 130 bucks. It's gonna include at least a hoodie and a tee, possibly 2 tees, maybe some joggers. It's a mystery. It's a mystery bag, and these are super sick. We've done 2 mystery bag or mystery box drops in the past. We try to do one each year. They sell out very, very quickly. So if you guys want to get your hands on the, hypothetically speaking, the best deal we've ever done. This is, what is that, like at minimum 70% off or something ridiculous. Get your hands on one of these mystery bags. Tomorrow at noon, Pacific Standard Time, these guys drop. Don't miss out. So all of the parts and components for the starter are recoated. These guys here went a flat black, looks very nice. I was gonna do the clear Cerakote on these pieces, but being that they were so corroded, I ended up doing an H151 satin aluminum Cerakote. So instead of just being clear and seeing all the corrosion, the silver kind of covers it and makes it look nice. Let's go ahead and get this guy back together, yank this car apart, get the new starter in, and then before I actually go ahead and order a new alternator, I'm gonna verify that this alternator is the root of the battery drainage issue, and we will, I'll show you guys how I'm gonna do that when the time comes. So the first thing that has to go in is the bearing. Just heating up the aluminum here so the bearing can just drop right on in here. Hopefully that's warm enough to give her a couple love taps. Or no taps. All right, that was supposed to be the hard part, and that is done. 3 little gears go in like so. Now this guy goes on this guy. Remember how janky this thing looked before? Now I know it ain't perfect, but it's pretty freaking nice for a starter. Let's go ahead and get her on the car. Now, unfortunately, the whole freaking front end has to come back off this car for the starter to come out. But we're already halfway there, so it's not really that big of a deal. Thanks to my handy dandy little valve I put on the radiator, it makes life very easy. I don't know how many freaking times I've had this front end off. Probably like 100, if I'm being frank. All right, now we have fairly easy access to the starter and to the alternator. So here's the plan. I'm going to go ahead and swap out this POS Rock Auto starter for the one we just did. Verify it works, make sure that's good to go. And then from there, I'm going to disconnect the alternator, let the car sit overnight and see if it still drops a ton of voltage. Sounds like a good plan. And I just have a feeling that alternator is just killing power. I've had it happen before. That's why I have the feeling, not on this car, on the wide body FRS. Same exact thing was happening. And sure enough, ended up being the alternator. Man, even with the front end off, the starter's still kind of a pain to get to. Not kind of, extremely. Rock Auto Special. Alrighty, hopefully this little guy right here is gonna be the resolution to a lot of our problems. If this one still doesn't engage properly, I don't know what to do, because it's OEM. I'm sure it'll be fine. Let's toss back on our battery cable and see what happens. Technically, she's been asleep for a minute. Nope. You know, I'm missing like 1,000 things. Why am I trying to start this? I don't even have the ECU plugged in. Come on, Devin. Nah, she's just low on voltage. What are we at on voltage? Battery's only been charged for like an hour. 10.9 volts. Well, the first 2 tries, starter engaged properly. Let's try again. Safe to say, just for safe measure, let's try again. 4 out of 4, we're good to go. Sweet. So here's the plan. I'm gonna check voltage tonight before I leave on the battery, and for starters, I'm gonna disconnect the alternator, check voltage on the battery, and if we come back tomorrow and the voltage is the same or within like 1% probably, then we know the alternator was the issue. So then we'll replace it. Easy enough. Chipping away at these little problems on this car. The main thing right now is just that battery drainage. Once that's fixed, this thing is ready to rip. It's just annoying trying to go drive the car and enjoy it. And if it sits for more than like 3 days, I can't. I gotta jump it every freaking time. So last night when we left, our battery was at 12.10 volts. And now this morning it's gonna be at 12.08. Small percentage, I'm hoping. If it's really low, we got problems. If it ain't, it was the alternator. Well, that's a start. The hatch opens. Okay, we are chilling at a whopping 12.95. So it went down never mind, 11, what did I say? 11.95, 12.10, 11, 0.15. We still have a problem. It appears we still have a issue. Well, it's pretty clear that the starter is good to go. Alternator is not giving us issues, seeing how it sat overnight. And we still had the draw. So, might as well toss the front end back on. One day we'll figure this freaking car out, man. I don't know when, but I'm confident that one day we will. Alright, so I put the car back together and we are doing another parasitic draw test. This time we're doing it the proper way. Being that it's a newer car, these things have a ton of modules and whatnot on them. So right now I have the driver's side door open. I have all the doors locked, but I have the sensor or the switch compressed with a C-clamp. Same concept up here. Hatch is open so we can access the battery and actually do this parasitic draw test. But I have it set to where the car thinks the hatch is closed, so this light right here can be turned off. We are going to do a parasitic draw test. So I already have one of the terminals on the battery cable. I'm going to put, I guess, the lead. You want to connect these before you pull the negative battery cable off. Other lead is going to go on the battery post. And we have a draw. 18.5 milliamps is where we're at.
What's up, boss?
All right, brother. So I did the thing, and after sitting for 20 minutes, I pulled the cable with terminals on, and on the 600M setting, we're at 19.9.
19.9?
Yes.
That's perfectly within spec. 19.9 milliamps, that's low.
Huh. So what the heck?
It might mean that something's waking up randomly.
So here's the thing. I did what you said and I locked all the doors and set the key aside. Is there any way that something's staying on because the key's like staying in the car?
It is, yes. A lot of times if you leave the key in the car overnight, that does cause issue because then kind of reads that key and it's telling the body control module, hey, be ready to start at any time.
I hate new cars, man.
Is that what you were doing the entire time?
Yeah, definitely. The key's always in the car.
Yeah, try leaving the key out for once because, like I said, 19.9 milliamps, that's that's low. That's very good, actually.
Okay. Okay.
Anything below about 60 milliamps is about good.
All right. Well, that makes me happy. I mean, I guess it doesn't have a problem. Either, I guess, that starter was giving me issues, which I never really did a proper parasitic draw test before, so I don't know.
Right.
Because, like I said, overnight it dropped 0.2 amps, or 0.2 volts. But that was with the key in the key in the car, so...
It could also be, like I said, a pretty shit battery, even though it's newish. The fact that the battery's been drained, charged a bunch of times, it's garbage. From personal experience, I don't know. I know you posted a video of when you did that battery test on it. A lot of batteries, they'll show that they pass, but they're still just so garbage for whatever reason.
Gotcha.
But they'll still pass all the tests.
Okay.
That's something that bit me in the ass multiple times, from personal experience.
Yes, that makes sense. Okay, man. Well, at least I know there's no actual draw, and I think from here it's going to be easy to figure out. Well, I've decided I'm trying to drive this little girl home tonight. We don't have that much work left to do on it, There's a couple other little things that I want to tackle before I get off the lift, but I think it's easily achievable. It's been a while since I drove this thing, and thankfully the weather's been pretty nice these last few days. Ain't no snow, ain't no rain. I'm not really the biggest fan of driving this thing in the snow or the rain, so let's get these headlights back on. I need to bleed the cooling system. This is probably only the 50th time, I would say, putting coolant in this thing. 50 is probably excessive, but you guys get the point. It's been quite a few times. If you don't have one of these guys, get one. Definitely a must-have. Okay, this thing is ready to fire. We are trying to bleed out the cooling system right now. If you guys can remember back how big of a freaking problem that used to be, now it's simple. It's amazing what happens when you don't give up. That's so sick, dude. The freaking stock starter button is so sick. And it works flawlessly. Like every single time I've tried it with a properly charged battery, it's been absolutely perfect. So how I bleed cooling systems, I'll let it run, get up to temp, shut it off, it'll suck in a bunch of coolant, and then just keep continuing to do that until it stops sucking coolant, and you're good to go. Go drive it, make sure it doesn't overheat, then you're fine. Good to go. Ugh. The stock starter button is the coolest part of this build. Let's do it again for fun. Sheesh! One day, it'll have a stock cluster, and that'll be sick too. Gotta remember, take the key out. Apparently, you can't leave the key in the car. Now, believe it or not, I've never seen this car on the ground with the new ZE40s. These are a sick wheel, and I think it's gonna look tremendous on the FK8. So these are 18 by 10, 39 mil offset, I wanna say. Should be a perfect fitment. Don't judge it yet. It's not on the ground. If you would like to judge it, you can judge it now. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but ZE40s work really, really well on the Type R, on the FK8. I don't see it getting much better than that. TEs are cool, but I feel like ZEs on this car look sick. Now on this car, I feel like a nice set of TEs, properly spec TEs on this, gonna be insane. Okay, let's discuss turbo feed line. So on the car right now, we have, of course, the Precision 6466, Precision, pretty much the Precision turbo feed line. And a lot of companies and a lot of high-end people recommend that you do a oil line regulator, a flow regulator. So I picked one up. This is made by TurboSmart, and what this black thing right here does is it's gonna keep our oil pressure going to the turbo at a constant 40 PSI. If you get crazy oil pressure going to your turbo, you're gonna blow out the seals, it's gonna start smoking. We've had that problem in the past. So I picked that up. You're gonna need separate lines. So this one is gonna go to the engine and then run to the regulator, which also, by the way, happens to be a filter at the same time. So it's gonna be super nice. And then off the other side of the regulator, up to the turbo, and this should prevent any sort of blowing of the seals due to high oil pressure on the turbo. So let's get this OEM one off. Honestly, this is an OEM, it's off Amazon. I don't really like how it looks. The gold fittings are kind of weird, and overall it's just kind of bummy looking. So here's the line that we just pulled off. Here is our new line, and I'm a big fan of this line wrap from Funk Motorsports. I'm gonna put some up here and then down here as well, where it goes near the exhaust. Getting the right size to fit is always a little bit challenging, but it looks so much cleaner if you can, as you can see. Very nice, clean looking. Before I had this big stuff on there and it did not look good whatsoever. There is a flow arrow, so it goes in on this side, and this side is gonna go to the turb ski. I know this bay is disgusting right now, but we got the regulator mounted right down in there. Got our zip tie up so it's not banging on the tubs. This thing is ready for a nice little rip. I think it's about that time, boys. It's been weeks since we've driven this car. Oh boy. I forgot how much better this clutch pedal was, or throttle pedal, I mean, with the proper adjustment. Look at that, we got our lift spot back. Just what we needed to get this old girl back on the road. Now I know we got a ways to go, but it's never gonna get done if we don't work on it. All right, boys, it's the next morning. I got this car home and I checked the battery voltage. It was at 12 volts exactly, so I let it sit overnight. Now I'm gonna check the battery voltage again to see if our issue is resolved. And we are looking like it's sitting at a total of 11.82. So still a 0.2 voltage battery drop overnight. Now, here's the thing. I don't know what is acceptable, so I checked Bobby's as well last night. I have some interesting data, which here in a second we will talk about, but let's check Bobby's. Now, Bobby's last night was at 12.6. Keep in mind, mine was at 12. Why? Why was mine at 12? Holy freak, it's cold. So early as well. So if hers is at 12.6, hers dropped to 12.53. So it still dropped, but mine dropped more. But why? My biggest concern right now, why hers is at 12.6 after driving the car and mine is at 12. That leads me to believe that my battery is actually shot when it's testing and it's fine. My alternator is fine when I'm driving that car and I have the Autel plugged in. When I'm just cruising around, it's showing it's putting out 14.4 volts, which is completely fine for an alternator. So yeah, I'm pretty convinced that our battery is actually shot at this point. We only have a 20 milliamp battery draw, or a parasitic draw, which of course that is not excessive. So at this point, I'm confident the car is fine, nothing's actually going on, and we simply just need a new battery. That's my guess. I could be wrong, but I'm gonna start with the simple things first and throw a new battery in it, do this exact same test again, and go from there.